Welcome to the multiple layers of Handel. I'm Abigail Fisher, and I'm really so happy to be here and so happy you're here watching this video about the multiple layers of Handel's cantata, early cantata from 1708 that Handel wrote early on in his career, writing for the Roman Arcadian Academy, which was sort of like a secret society, a special elite group of people. And within the Baroque era, it was very common to use these pastoral myths or myths in general to create an opportunity to both just talk about the universalism of the human experience through myth, because that is what myth does so well, and also talk about the specificity of what's happening in their life at the time. It was very common to use pseudonyms for this sense of secrecy and also like potentially political satire or something like that, that wouldn't be immediately recognized. And so people were always looking for these multiple layers of meaning. And so as a result, I think in the modern era, it's such a beautiful opportunity for us to be able to look back and, from a different perspective, add our own layers of meaning. So first of all, what is this cantata about? So it's Aminta, a shepherd, and pursuing the love of the fair Phyllis, Fillide, the shepherdess. And the shepherd is played by a higher soprano than Fillide, who's a lower soprano, or maybe darker soprano. And this was very common to sort of mix the genders, and it was also very common, by the way, for homosexual relationships with people that were married or people that were not married, or but not necessarily to identify as homosexual per se as an identity, but that there was much more gray area and give and take and flexibility within that. And so it's interesting that, and there was also castrati, that were castrated men that were singing soprano roles. But for this particular cantata, we know that the premiere was done by two sopranos. And it's interesting that the shepherd is played by a higher soprano than the woman, who's sort of a lower, more womanly, I don't know, maybe darker sounding soprano. So the shepherd is wooing fair Phyllis, Fillide, and he says, please just listen to my constancy. Listen and trust in my constancy. And this has clearly been going on for quite some time. And Phyllis has just hardened her heart because she's seen this happen time and time again. Love only causes suffering. I'm closed to this possibility. And she is convinced that she's right, and therefore has closed and hardened her heart. But after much imploring, eventually, halfway through, she does soften. And Cupid strikes the arrow in just that moment and hits her heart, and she is open, finally, to love. And this is quite an event, because this is quite unusual, actually, in even within the pastoral myths. Most people are disappointed when they pursue. So I was at first skeptical when I was approached to do this beautiful collaboration with Lauren Snowfer as the other soprano and Ars Lyrica Houston, which we just taped a couple days ago and which is going to be live streaming for you on Friday, May 21st. I'll put the link in the comments here for you to check out. But I was reflecting, there's definitely many more layers to be explored here. So, as I looked through this pastoral myth, through the lens of this Aminta e Fillide tale, I found a deeper meaning of when Fillide says, I am touched, and now I am open to what the baby God has to give me, the love of this baby God. And so in this way, there is clearly an allegory of being open to the voice of God, so that Jesus as the baby God. So this sort of spirituality pursuing her, so that she could soften her heart enough so she could feel that interconnectivity and hear something bigger than herself. And then as well, the political satire, or, not in this case, but the reflection historically would have been the Spanish wooing Italy to be an ally in the War of the Spanish Succession. But then for me, when I was personally looking for the depth that I could bring to the role of Fillide, I was reflecting on, what does this mean for me? Because all these multi-layers, the multiformity of myth, by the way, here's Hermes, hello. Hi. How can we learn from these many layers? And that includes within ourself. And so for me, I was really struck by that imploring of Aminta to trust in the love that Aminta is proclaiming for Fillide. Because for me, I have been really wanting to feel an experience within my own heart of self-trust. And so I was really holding that in my heart during the taping of this. And especially in that middle part, right before she says, now I really feel that arrow of Cupid in my heart, and now I can open to love. And performing is that ritual where we can be changed on so many different levels of our being. So I thought I would make this video really to share with you the multiple layers that I've found, and perhaps welcome you to think about, what are you being pursued by? What can you open your heart to feel a deeper experience of in general, and also in listening to this piece? So, and even when you listen, can you feel that change happening? Those multiple layers of resonance as you perhaps follow along with the libretto, and the myth of the universality of the human experience. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today in Hermes. I hope you enjoy our performance of Aminta e Fillide.